Piling paper, got them talking nice to me. Down the bottle, it be going right through me. Brown baby down to take a flight to me. They think that I'm stunting, but it's slight to me. Piling paper, got them talking nice to me. Guess that's why the labels want the rights to me. CD on my back and it feel light to me. They think that I'm stunting, but it's slight to me.
Welcome everybody back to another episode of Boss Talk, your midweek pick me up for your gems and your jokes for your advancement and your growth. We are glad to be back with you. If you've been here before, then welcome back. If you haven't been here, welcome to a community of uplifters, game changers, and innovators. And we're excited for this conversation today, man. We got a nice legend in the building. You know what I'm saying? I always give the backstories when people is on here, so we'll get the backstory. Also, we got Jalil in the background. He was already on here. Big shout outs to Jalil. So this guy here, man, I didn't know that he followed us before and knew about us before we even knew about him. Yeah. So then Clubhouse comes around, and I remember I heard him speaking on Clubhouse, and I was like, this guy knows what he's talking about. And we had recently just started Shady Side Up in 2020. So, Clubhouse, that was the thing. And during the pandemic, everybody popping, man. But you got to go on there for the right reasons. So I went on there, heard him talking. I remember we exchanged Instagrams on there, started talking to Instagram, and then he shot me an opportunity to go out to Atlanta to one of the masterminds by Corey and Neo, which Corey has been on here. We got to get Neo on here. Neo, stop playing. Why you running? Everybody else on here. Stop playing. And met this guy, man, and he's truly just been open arms, man. Showed us a lot. I came back to Atlanta. He showed me around the space, around the office, gave me gems. We sat, we chopped it up. Overall, just a good dude, man. This guy's really out here killing it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome our boy Justin in the building. What's up, man?
What's up, brother? I appreciate you guys first and foremost for
sure, man. For sure.
So much.
Listen, you out here doing big things, man. Big things. I'm sure you out here doing some business as well,
of course,
as you should.
But it wouldn't be right if I didn't come check in.
Come on, man. Gotta come to the trap house. You know what I'm saying? To the Boss Talk.
Right.
Let's see, where do we even begin? Because this conversation, I know it's gonna get there. I know it's gonna go there. Yeah, because we already had Corey give a little backstory, but he didn't go into yours. He said, "I'm gonna let him for when he get on here." Okay. So, I guess give the people now Justin's side of support Black colleges, and just a little elevator pitch of who you are, where you come from.
Okay, cool. So name's Justin Phillips, co-owner of a brand called Support Black Colleges. Mm-hmm. Our mission is to inspire, uplift, raise awareness for HBCU students. We happen to do it through merchandise, and then now we're fortunate enough to have some success in that business, and then teach people how to get into the online e-commerce game in general. Mm-hmm. So that's a little spiel. I want to, of course, listening to this episode as we have a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people who are just getting started in the business. I guess I would ask you from a early age, did you know you wanted to be an entrepreneur, or was it something that you had to pivot into? I would say that I got into entrepreneurship out of necessity, and it was because my mom. So I'm from Houston, Texas.
H-Town.
I'm looking at Lil Flip, Paul Wall.
Man, not Flipper.
You know what I'm saying? Come on now. UGK. I'm looking at Mike Jones. Yeah. And I'm like, man, I really want to grill. I really want to grill, top.
I thought he was going somewhere else. I really want to grill. Yeah,
I really
keeping it real.
I'm keeping it honest with you. Can I be?
Oh real?
So I really wanted to grill, and I think that's just a Southern nature.
Yeah.
That's something that you want to have. And I asked my mom. I said, "Mom, I want to grill," and she said, "Well, if you want things, you have to make money to buy them." And I said, "You know what? Okay, what can I do to earn income so that I can buy the things that I want?" And I started to sell candy at my school to do so, and I think that was really the start of the entrepreneurial journey. It came out of necessity to get things that I wanted, and also having a mother that had an entrepreneurial spirit.
Nice.
And gifted that to me as well.
So did you ever get the grill? I did.
He said, "No,
And
long
it took me 2 days.
2 days.
2 days.
What type of candy?
He was selling nose candy.
So look, I'm gonna lay it all down, bro. This is exactly what's going on. So I went to Sam's Club, got a big box, went to school the next day, had my backpack on me, and I was just talking to all of the kids in school, and I ended up making about $250.
Oh, you was working
within the first 2 days.
Okay. Yeah, you was working.
That was enough for me to go to Sharpstown Mall in the city and go get me a grill for $200. It was gold, and I don't know what level of gold it was.
Yeah, but it was gold. It didn't matter.
And it had a little stones on the side.
Oh
like
yeah,
one,
you was doing it.
And that was that. So it took me a few days.
It's some in that. It's that spirit of I don't even like to call it a hustle mentality, but it's just that that hunger. You know what I'm saying? And I want to kind of touch on that, like.
Before you
go ahead.
Go deeper.
Go ahead.
You didn't even play victim when your mom told you that. You was like, all right, and do it. Like a lot of
Yeah,
people would be like, man,
that's true.
she don't love me.
That's true.
I ain't gonna do this, and they would just stop and just be frozen
that's true.
by fear and
That's
inaction.
good.
But you was like, all right, I'm gonna figure it out.
You know what? I think that comes from. So I talk a lot about my mom because I was raised in a single parent household. So my dad went to jail when I was 2, and he got out when I was 17. So it didn't even. So now that you're breaking it down like that, it didn't even come off to me like my mom doesn't love me because that's all that I had.
Yeah,
So I think that it was more so of like she's just.
She tell me what it is.
This is just what it is. So
Yeah.
I just took heed to it and just went from there.
That's cool. My mom told me you gotta make money. I gotta make money. You the parent. Give me the money. But I was gonna say, with that hunger, I know a lot of entrepreneurs, and I'm sure we've all dealt with it. Like having the hunger is one thing, but sustaining the hunger is another one, right? And so, what would you say is your method of sustaining that hungry go-getter attitude, like throughout the years, all the way up until even black colleges, support black colleges?
Yeah, I think the best method to sustain the hunger is just to stay consistent. And I always say like the only real cheat code is consistency. Yeah. So if you want to get motivated, then be consistent.
Yeah.
And then the motivation will come as you keep in your routine and etc. So I think that's kind of what I carried throughout the whole time. It's just like, if I want things and I want the 1% lifestyle, I want that, then I know that I have to do what the 99% aren't doing. And that is being consistent, staying motivated, and striving for the things that we want. So I think that's that piece there.
It's funny, because that's how we built our subscribers, just putting out a consistent video every Sunday and being consistent with it to the point where we miss a week, they upset like it's a TV show.
Yeah.
We finally did it. That first time we missed, I'm like, we did it. They upset. I wasn't even mad that they was upset. I'm glad they were upset.
Like,
let us know.
The thing about consistency, what I'm learning is that it's timeless. What I mean is like consistency. Once you do something for so long, that's what we learned doing Dormtainment. That consistency is holding us up to this day.
Yeah.
Which is wild when I think about it. When you run into people and they like, man, I remember you. Or they just show love. Like it's the reason we got connected. I'm like, even if you're not doing videos, the consistency that you do or the consistency of your business, like it reverberates through time. And it's like, that's the wild part about it.
I agree. And someone said this, entrepreneur that I really like, his name's Alex Hormozy. And he said something to the effects of like, effort is like the global currency of respect. So like, I don't need to. You being consistent shows me that you're constantly putting effort in, and no matter, even if we aren't in the same niche, the same field, the same business type of setting, I can respect you, bro, because you putting effort into your situation every single week,
every
and that's
time.
respectable. And then one thing I did want to bring up too is that like, I went to Howard University, so y'all did a show at Howard University a little while back, and
slammed.
It was slammed, to the point to where I pulled up, and it was so packed that I was like, "Oh no, I'm straight." And I just went back to my dorm. But I do remember you guys for the consistency in doing that. So then when we crossed paths on Clubhouse, it was, "Oh no, I know these guys. They're funny, business minded, good people, consistent, and that's something I could respect."
Yeah.
And that night was wild. We had gone through a lot of stuff that you didn't see.
That night was crazy.
Right before we went on stage, a light man came down. Was like, "Can one of y'all come up there? It's dark up there." I'm like, "Why did they hire you?
Yeah, why we gonna come up there? You can't see.
I'm about to go on stage."
But luckily, Howard, shout out to Howard, because everybody in there was like, "It's okay. We this be happening. It's all right. It's all right."
And that's unfortunate.
Go ahead.
Well, I wanted to piggyback on what both of y'all said. Like, that's why I always tell people, no matter what you do, just do it. Even if it don't turn out the way you want it, it's a stepping stone. Because, like, as he said, Dormtainment is that foundation that even if it don't go to where we want it to go, at the end of it, it still did what it needed to do.
It did exactly what it needed to do.
Doors,
yeah.
Open up plenty.
Nothing is a waste of time.
Yeah. And, like, even with Boss Talk, we 3 years in now, ain't missed a week yet, which is crazy.
Wow.
Like, through vacations, through everything, we just find a way to get it done. And that's why it's so funny, because you think, like, even when other stuff isn't going right in your life, you had to sit right down and really think, like, all right, I'm really doing something different. Like, I'm taking care of what I need to take care of. Even if it don't feel like it, it's there. You know, the action is there. So I want to jump forward a little bit to support Black colleges. I know Corey gave a lot of the backstory of how it got started, but I want to talk to you about the internal, right? Because Corey's a wild boy. He, he's more, in the city, And I know when you guys started, you two figured out, like, day and night, like, hey, you gonna go out and do this, I'm gonna be in here and do this. So how did you guys, like, decide on who was gonna do what in that? Because people who have partnerships or business, they may be going through something like that.
That's really good. I think that one of the most important things in partnership is having somebody that has, like, supplementary skills to what you have. Most people get in business because they're friends, and then they realize that, man, we're the same person. We have the same skills, and we like the same things, which necessarily isn't good for business, because you typically want to have somebody that does the opposite of your strengths and can support you in your weaknesses. This person is good at networking and etc., and the other person is good at analytics and those back office types of things. So, but for me and Corey, it kind of just started off as far as the roles. He was good at the partnerships, the networking, etc. And I have those traits too, but I just choose when I want to turn it on and off. But what I love to do is, like, build business, figure out where the holes are,
numbers,
and then strategically make a plan to grow this thing exponentially so that we can, exit if we want to, pass it down to the next generation, whatever it is. And that's kind of how the roles were carved out. That's just what I like to do, and that's what he was strong at.
That's what's funny, because it's the same thing with He's the extrovert, networker, all that. I stay behind the scenes. I work on the internal. I'm good.
That's great.
He's just got to know them things. I know a lot of people speak to their strengths, but I think there's something honorable about speaking to your weaknesses, right? So, like, for somebody who's listening, they be like, they feel like maybe they don't have no weakness, or they don't know, like, what their weaknesses are. How did you identify those and be like, all right, I ain't good at this?
Man. That is an outstanding question. And the way that happened and how I identified it was by trying a bunch of things. Because naturally, especially when you're new in business, you have to wear so many hats. You got to be the photographer, the videographer, the product manager, the Shopify guy. You got to deliver the packages, etc. You got to do all of that. So as we started to grow, I started to do a technique of, like, mastering one thing and then passing it on to someone else. So, and we talked about that before we were in Atlanta, but I would just master one thing and then move on to the next. But then I realized at one point we got to operations, and it was making the clothes in-house, hiring seamstresses, having them all sew, having 4 sewing machines in the warehouse and people working on them all day. And I realized, I was like, wow, I am very bad at this. Like, managing people to do, like, to output a certain amount of numbers of goods, etc. And then even the shipping process and things of that nature. And I was like, one day I thought to myself, I was like, am I going to let my ego let us go out of business? Because it takes a certain amount of self-awareness to realize that, Justin, you are really good at, like, the marketing, the analytics, etc. You're not that good at the operations side. So are you going to take 3 to 5 years of pain, trying to figure it out, and telling yourself, no, I'm the operations guy? Or are you going to be humble and vulnerable and say, this is not my strong suit, and there's someone out there that is better than me at this, and I'd rather pay that person top dollar to teach me things that would take 3 to 5 years within 3 to 5 months, and then learn through them through osmosis by them just being around, and then double or triple down on my strengths and let my weaknesses be amplified by just being around people that are good at the things I suck at. And that's what I chose to do.
It makes sense.
Like with me and him, we've been friends for a while, and we had another business before we started Shady Side Up. So I knew what type of person he was going into business with him. How did you identify that Corey was good to go into business with?
I'll be completely honest. Like when we first started off, it was really just off of a friendship. I could say that we were just good guys, friends, and it was just like, yo, you throw parties, I throw parties, we throwing parties together. Let's try this out. I want to do this thing, and I was like, all right, cool, let's do it. So it wasn't, to be completely transparent with you, it wasn't like, oh, I'm this guy, you're that guy. Let's iron out the roles and responsibilities and let's make it. It wasn't that at all.
Yeah.
But what was it that made you invest that first $10K? Because you had to identify something at that
That's
point.
a fact. For me personally, it was the knowledge that I had in the internet marketing space of Facebook ads, Instagram ads, etc., and then the product. And I was like, I can stand behind this. I went to a HBCU. I know that it changed my life. I know that it showed me black excellence in that capacity. And I knew that if I put what wasn't already there behind it, ads, strategy, etc., that I was just like, man, I believe that we can like do $100,000 a month at max capacity. That would be outstanding. And I was like, $10,000 to possibly do 100,000. I just believed in the product that much, and my ability to amplify it.
And that brings me to your book, Last E-commerce ebook you'll ever need.
Great book.
I got when you dropped. I got your book too. But the part I love the most about this book, all the information was great, but it's the mindset part. We always believe it starts with the mindset. And I highlighted this when I first read it. It says, your current life is only a reflection of who you are on the inside. Change the inside and watch the outside follow. And that's basically what you did. You believed at that moment, like, I could do this, and then you did. And it always starts with that belief. Like, without a belief, you can't do it. So how important is mindset to being an entrepreneur?
Oh, man, mindset is really everything. And like I said in the book, I think that the world within shapes the world without. And until we figure out how to build ourselves up on the inside, we can't expect for the outside to reflect. And I always go back to a book that I actually read that helped me out in this capacity, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza, one of my favorite books. And it just kind of talks about how the things that you think becomes the things that you say. The things that you say are like the things that you do in your behavior, and then your behavior is your personality, and that's your personal reality. So whenever you think something, you feel a way. Whenever you feel a way, you act a way. Whenever you act a way, that's your personality. Your personality is your personal reality. So if I can change the way that I think and the way I believe and the things that I feed myself, then I can change what's on the outside. Because I was having a conversation with Ellie about this too, and I was like, it's no coincidence that they call it, consuming content, because you are what you eat. So when I'm consuming all of these things, that's what's projecting on the outside as well. So I think that the mindset piece is not only just the belief to have, but it's the things that you consume, the people that you surround yourself with, the environment, and the cadence in which you're gathering information too. Vital.
And also, staying in a state of gratitude. One thing I got from you is writing 10 gratitudes every day.
Oh, wow,
I do that, and I do the Bill Winston from you.
Oh, yeah, that Bill Winston,
That's dope.
That's That's everything.
Yeah, the gratitude thing is one of my favorite things, too, because when you write down every day what you're grateful for, you tend to find good things in everything. Like, bro, perfect example. We were an hour away from you guys, and someone else might have been like, damn, an hour away, like I gotta go and drive, But in my head, I'm like, man, this is gonna be great to have a great conversation with my boy Jaleel on the way. I'm about to reconnect with my guys, and we're gonna have a great time making good quality content and helping people out. So it's more so like when you train yourself to be grateful every day, you tend to find the good in any situation, no matter how bad it is.
Yeah,
And,
It's hard to be upset when you write down your gratitude.
we just talked about this. I can't remember if this episode is already going to be out by the time this, but we talked about how I just learned about being in a constant state of appreciation, right? And how like gratitude, not that it's finite, but some people, they may have gratitude but still have an attitude.
Yeah.
But when you're in a constant state of appreciation, it just hits different. Like, because so that's what you did. You were in a constant state of appreciation. Like, all right, you know what? It's an hour away, but I'm excited. I'm alive. I'm about to have a conversation. Like, you were just appreciating each step of the way, which I think is really dope.
And then to be honest with you, that wasn't even like a thought process.
Yeah,
Like, I wasn't just to be like, I didn't want it to make it seem like I even thought about like,
I
gotta drive. Like, it wasn't even that at all.
Yeah,
It's just,
you use an example. With mindset, of course, it's easy to get motivated and stuff like that. But I think I want to talk about those moments where, because I've battled with like where I want to be and where my work ethic is.
very important topic.
Right? Because like as entrepreneurs, granted, you can get lazy sometimes, or you get in your modes and stuff like that. So in those times, like we can maybe even go to the early stages when you weren't exactly where you wanted to be, and of course you still got for a very long way to go. But in those stages when you've seen where you want to be, like your vision, but you looked at your work ethic, you was like, nah, I need to fix something. How did you fix that? We call it kind of going through the void and fix it. Like, what would you say you did in those times?
I saw a video one day that talked about this, and this is kind of like what's coming to my head when you ask that. Is like we have two options whenever that type of situation comes. We can either raise our work ethic to match what we see for ourselves, or lower what we see for ourselves to match the work ethic that we have. So for me, I say whenever I'm thinking about that, or I might find myself being complacent or whatever, I ask myself, does my work ethic match what I say that I want for myself? And if not, then I either need to make a decision to lower what I say I want for myself to match my work ethic, or I need to go harder. And typically people like ourselves tend to be, all right, I'm gonna go hard. So
because scaling it back don't even sound right.
Yeah, don't surrender to the struggle.
Scaling it back don't even sound right. With that being said, I think that's really dope. I think it's one of those things where, like you know, like where you want to be at, and you know the type of work you want to put in, but how do you manage expectations when it comes to your business and comes to work? Like, because there are realistic expectations, and then there are they're like, maybe I'm bugging a little bit.
Maybe I'm not thinking big.
So how would you say that, someone could help manage their expectations when it comes to being in business?
Managing expectations when being in business. You know what, bro? The only thing that's coming to my head is when there was ups and downs that we had in the business. When we got to the point where it was the lowest of the low, $0 in the bank account, trying to figure out how we were gonna find money to pay payroll, and I'm in the shower by myself, like, bro, what are you gonna do? Damn near crying, because I'm thinking like the business is about to be done.
Like it's a wrap,
And the only thing that kept coming to my head is like the expectations that you have for yourself that you're bringing up of, I want to be this successful, and I want to be this CEO and this entrepreneur, and I want to show people that I am who I say I am, and all of these things. None of that mattered at the lowest point. The only thing that mattered to me at the lowest point wasn't the success of the business, wasn't the followers, wasn't the money you made, none of those things. It was, are you a good person, and do the 5 people that you hang out with and care about on a daily basis think that you're a good person, and do they love you, and do you love them? And then also for folks that are religious, spiritual, etc., then do you have a great relationship with whom you believe created you? And manage the expectations for me, because I wasn't looking at it on the expectations of trying to be successful and trying to be this big CEO, whatever.
Yeah.
I was measuring my success based on my relationship with my creator and the peers around me that I love.
Gotcha.
And that's all I needed that was my definitions for success. So even when I'm meditating, I tell myself, thank you, God, so much for the success that you've given me, but not success in the monetary value, but success in the love that I have to give and the appreciation that I have for the people around me, because success isn't money, followers, and business. Success is really whatever you make it. But for me, my definition is, do the people I care about me?
Absolutely.
It's funny you say that, because that's how I deal with criticism. Like comments and stuff never bother me. It never bothered me while it would bother other people, because I was like, as long as the like bar is up and the people I really care about, that's the opinions I care about. Right. That's someone I don't know and can't see. So it got me through any type of criticism we got. So when y'all face criticism or controversy, how do you deal with that?
That's good. Bro, to be completely honest, I love it, bro. Because it gives me, sometimes it be real, if we being honest.
So
maybe something in the business isn't all the way where it needs to be. So I look at it and say, these people are calling me out on the BS that I got going on and giving me an opportunity to better myself. So I'm really grateful for the criticism. That's number one. And then number two, if it just is something that's like pettily negative, then it's just like, man, I feel really bad for you, bro, because your day in life is going so bad that you feel the need to comment on me just trying to be a good person.
Yeah.
And I typically meet that with empathy and be like, I'm sorry that you feel that way. I hope that whatever you're going through, you get through it, because that's an unfortunate position to be in, because all I'm trying to do is be a good guy.
Yeah.
So I kind of say this twofold. On one side, empathy to those that are just being petty because their life is not where they want it to be, most likely because they have the time to be negative for no reason. And on the other side, if it has merit to it, take accountability for it and be like, I'm grateful for the constructive criticism. Let's go fix whatever it is, because this guy's right.
Yeah, because there's
so you ignore anyone who say Hampton's the real HU.
Now that is just unnecessarily petty, and now that is actually fighting words. So,
because there's a big difference between like, hey, I just want to let you guys know, you know, for us or something like, hey, my shades are on back order for something. You like, okay, well, I need to get my operations together.
Right.
Then somebody saying, I hate you. That's two different things.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
And what's funny, they'll come back right next week and be like, oh, I love y'all. Like when people say, y'all not funny. Next week, oh, y'all the funniest. Oh, y'all falling off. Oh, this is what I wanted. That's like,
like people don't know what they want. People don't know.
The thing is this, and I felt that when you said it too, so I want to say it, is that as long as the content and what you're doing feels good and feels right to you, and you creating it for the art of doing it or the purpose that you have or the mission, who cares what anybody else thinks? So, and I think y'all are operating in that way as well.
I seen this video a couple days ago, and it was very interesting, talking about it was talking about how a lot of entrepreneurs who are very successful at the top of their game, like maybe in their early 20s, even early 30s, by like 40, 50, they're depressed because they ran and hit the ceiling.
Yeah.
Right. And then they're like, oh shoot. You know what I'm saying? Was they didn't pace themselves. But now it's basically going from, they don't know how to go from entrepreneur to venture capitalist in a sense.
I see.
So go from being in the business, doing stuff, getting the accolades, to showing people how you did it, to like helping others come up, because that's the true meaning of life, is help and love. And so I feel like even with what you guys are doing, you're kind of doing it at the same time, because you're helping bring awareness to, you know, to the community, and then at the same time you're in your business. So I just want to say, like, I think that's a dope thing. You kind of got it both going at the same time. Really. I think that's cool, because I feel like you won't clock out so early. You know, some people like, that's like people who get a 10 million view video that goes straight to the top, and then they like, oh shoot, what's next?
Right. They don't know what
I want to get into the subject of like sacrifices, right? Because I think that's a big thing when it comes to this entrepreneur life, or I mean anything that you're just passionate about. Sacrifices is a tough thing, whether it's sports, business. So I want to kind of see if we could dive into maybe some of the sacrifice or biggest sacrifice that you had to make coming up into the business, and maybe even now that you have going on.
Dude, that's super good. The first thing my mind goes to, as far as the sacrifices I had to make on my journey, especially starting, was it's so interesting because Corey would probably tell you, like, in college, bro, I was the party guy.
Oh, yeah, he was telling them.
Like, I drink Thursday through Sunday, Thirsty Thursday, Friday, Saturday, mimosas bottomless on Sunday.
Killing
having a grand time, doing whatever we wanted. And then when I moved from Houston to Atlanta, Corey saw me become a totally different person. And it was because, and this is an interesting story, one day I was drinking, and then I actually got so drunk that I threw up. And then I threw up, and then the first thing that came to my head was, you drink so much, but you don't have anything to celebrate for. And I was like, wow.
The boy's talking to himself.
I was like, that's crazy. Like, you drinking every weekend with nothing to celebrate for. Bro, something has to change.
Yeah,
And then that was right when I had moved to Atlanta. So then when I moved to Atlanta, I viewed it as a opportunity for me to get around people that didn't believe my old story. So my old story was he parties, he drinks, he does this, he does that. But my new opportunity was I'm just surrounding myself with people that when I say, no, I'm about to be an entrepreneur, no, I'm going to build a business, they like, yeah, that's what you're about to do, and we believe you. So when I first moved, the sacrifices that I had to make were, it's crazy because, like, people, one, so I was living in a 1-bedroom apartment with 5 people in Houston, family members, cousins, brothers, people I call brother, etc. And I walked in one day and was like, man, y'all aren't on the same page as me. I'm trying to go here, and y'all are asleep on the floor at 3 p.m. in the afternoon after I just came back from working at my job.
We got to get
up. So
up.
I said, I got them together. I said, yo, bro, it's May 1st. By June 1st, if we not all on the same page, I'm out, because I need to surround myself with people that are going the same place that I'm going. And then that led to me obviously leaving, which is a different story. So sacrificing people.
Real quick right there, it reminded me of something I heard. They said a lot of people think they have a good circle until they find out it's becoming an oval.
Yeah.
Because you pulling and they pulling you,
Right.
and then it's becoming, and that blew my mind. I was like,
Yeah.
damn, no, that's a tough pill to swallow.
That's
But
really
yeah,
good.
go ahead.
That's
You
good.
making my circle old.
No, you gotta no. I make it a nice shape like a hexagon or something.
But finish the edit first.
So it was a few people, but also not just to say that I cut them off, never talk to them again. It was go, build, do your thing, come back, pull up. For now, I need to isolate myself. Then 2 was the drinking, and I never was really into smoking and whatnot, so I gave up drinking. And then for at least like the first 30, 90 days, I gave up like sex. And then also I just like gave up anything that didn't make money for the business that I was doing at the time. I listed out all the things that I did in my business in general, and then I circled the 3 that made me money, and I did nothing else but those 3 things. And the reason I did that is because something I heard from Warren Buffett. He would say the difference between the wealthy and the super wealthy is not the things that they do, it's the things that they don't do. And when you say yes to something, you're simultaneously saying no to something else, but you don't realize it. So I was like, wow, I'm saying yes to all of these different opportunities and whatnot, which is making me say no to the business. Let me say no and sacrifice all of these other things for a short period of time, and also say no to all the other things that I do in business, except for the 3 things that make me money. And I did that for like 60, 90 days when I first got into business, and took my little side income that I had from $700 a month to $5,000 a month within 30 days. And that was the beginning, but it was the sacrifices of some people, some time doing nonsense, like TV and video games and etc. And then weed, drinking, and sex, even though I really never got into weed like that. So those are the main sacrifices.
So I have 2 questions about that. One, you're very self-aware. A lot of people lack that. Where do you get that from?
I think that comes from acquiring knowledge over a long period of time, and getting exposed to different perspectives as well. So one thing for me was when I first started my entrepreneurship journey, was I was broke. So I was like, how can I be a CEO? I don't even know what CEOs do. And I was like, well, let me look up what they do. And I was like, all right. And I saw in an article, the average CEO reads 1 book a week. And the average American reads 1 a year. I was the average American at that point in time. Yeah. And I said, man, I have no money, but if I could buy a $9 book, $10 book, and try to get on the cadence of what a CEO does with reading a book a week, then maybe I'll get the traits that a CEO has so that I can start a business. And through my readings of Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, Outwitting the Devil, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich. Yeah. All of these different books that I read over time, it's exposed me to different mindset shifts and just becoming more self-aware in general. And I think that it's just a combination of all of the wisdom that I gathered over time, whether through books or mentors that have made me kind of look at what I'm doing. And then also a really big one for me, bro, was myself talking to myself again. And I was dealing with people, and I was, you know, like someone does something and you get like irritated. And it was happening to me a lot. And I was like, why am I getting so irritated about certain things that people do? Because other than that, I have a great attitude. I'm grateful. Have a lot of gratitude. And then something told me to myself again, it's like, the things that you're identifying in other people that you don't like are actually things that you don't like about yourself. And I was like, wow, like, the self-awareness was being built through those types of occurrences that were happening in my life because of outside circumstances. And I think that was something that like really, really sat with me and allowed me to be self-aware, just occurrences over a long period of time.
Are you still
tapped into your intuition?
Are you still keeping those habits of the reading and whatnot? Or trying
there's 2 things that I like to say about this topic in general. When I first was getting started, it was building the muscle of consistency to actually build those traits and those habits that I wanted, because I wanted to change my identity, not change my, you know, what I called myself. So I didn't want to build a habit of reading books. I wanted to become a reader. I wanted to shift my identity because I knew that the identity that I had before would not service me to get to the goals that I wanted to set out for myself. So the reason I say that is because if you're just getting started and you need to build that cadence and that habit, it makes sense to do what I was doing. Meditate wake up and read for an hour. Write down your goals. Write down what you're grateful for. Go for a walk, meditate, etc. But it's interesting because now I kind of go in and out of habits that I feel that I need at a specific time because I've learned too that just like when you drink coffee, you do that for a long period of time, it starts to wear off and the effects aren't as potent when you drink coffee for 12 months in a row.
That's exactly what you
That's
exactly what you're dealing with.
I'm like, I'm switching up my routine now. I'm like, I gotta switch it up. It felt too exactly what you're saying.
So now I cycle the habits that I have. So if I wake up and what I used to do is like, I'm gonna read this book this week, and I wake up and I read. Now I wake up and I follow my intuition. Like, what do I feel that I'm led that I need right now? And then I'll pick a book out, and then most people will start a book from top to bottom and read that way. But for me, I look at them as like gold mines, and there's a table of contents for a reason.
Like, you know what?
So
Let me see.
I'll be like, what piece of gold do I need right now that I'm feeling led to receive? And I'll go through the table of contents. Okay, cool. Chapter 8, I need X, Y, and Z. Boom, got it. That's what I needed for today. So I cycle in and out of my habits now.
We like to let the books find us. That's always be the best read.
And the funniest thing about you saying that, I had started a book, Principles by Ray Dalio. And I was at the very beginning where he's just talking about his life. And it's good, but I was like, man, this ain't really hitting me yet. I want to skip through, but I don't like skipping through because he said if you want to skip this part, you can. But I'm like, nah, I need a story. You know, it's about the story.
Long book too.
So then, long book. So then yesterday, I remembered I was like, oh, I still got the Compound Effect, the book in there. And I was like, you know what? I kind of want to. As soon as I open the book, it's a word from Tony Robbins in there, like the main epilogue. The forward is from Tony Robbins. It said, if you pick this book up, it's meant for, it's the right time. And I was like, that's funny. I was like, that's funny. So I was like, you just got to go where your mind and body is.
I want to go to my second question, which is a question I never asked, but I noticed we all do it because me and Romans practice it. Other people I know practice it. But what's the benefits especially when you're on this entrepreneurship journey of giving up sex. It's something about that men do, and it always benefit us. Like when we've done it, I always seen blessings come from it. It's like, how is that so beneficial for us?
I think that it's beneficial because, and I might sound like lofty when I do this, but it's like that is men. It's our essence. Like it's our seed. It is powerful energy source for us. So most people will, whether they ejaculate with a woman or they masturbate within themselves, scientifically you're giving your energy and you're exhausting yourself and you're draining yourself. So most people are doing that on the daily basis, whether it be masturbating or whatever, and now you're in a perpetual state of exhaustion because you're constantly letting go of that energy. So I just remember reading in Think and Grow Rich, the sexual transmutation. So I think that that's why men do that in entrepreneurship. They take very powerful energy and essence, and instead of succumbing to our carnal behavior of masturbating or having sex or whatever, we as entrepreneurs choose to take that energy and just direct it at whatever we need, and then that energy is so powerful that it just breeds massive success very quickly.
And I think we understand that, you know, as straight men, we understand that women are kryptonite sometimes. So, because you got to understand that. You got to know yourself. You be like, you know what? Especially some people, that's how they cope. Right. That's how they cope. You're like, you know what? I'm having a bad day. Let me call the girl. I'm having, you know what I'm saying? So you have to be, that comes with the self-awareness, and that's a sacrifice for some people. Some people you have to tell them, hey, slow down.
Nah, bro. I can't. I can't not.
No, you gotta slow it down, brother. And so every time they do it, you see your productivity go up because you're not. You want to be so busy, low key, that you like, I ain't got time to think about it right now.
That's a fact.
Like that's how this week has been. I'm like, I ain't even thought about it. This week has been crazy, and then that was one thing I want to talk about. Balance, right? There's this thing. I'm reading. I'm listening to the audiobook of. I forgot his name, but he basically coached Jordan and Kobe. Okay. I need to send that interview to both of y'all. That interview crazy. But so in there he's talking about how as people with the winning doesn't have balance. It just has spaces where you figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So how do you feel about balancing family and friends and dating and support black colleges or personal time, how does that come in for you?
Tim Grover,
that's his name.
For me, I tend to lean on accountability for my balance, because I think naturally as an entrepreneur, and just maybe even in my DNA, I'm very obsessive about topics that I get into, whether it be reading something, business, or whatever. So I tend to operate currently on extremes. I'm either all the way in or I'm all the way out. Now, I'm not saying that is lending itself well for me, but it is useful in certain capacities. So I'm still on a journey of trying to find a better balance. But for me right now, Jalil's here, and there's others like Darius and Mira, and we have an accountability group because we read a book together called The 12-Week Year, and basically trying to condense 12 months of work into 12 weeks and then doing that every single quarter. And we have a group where we write down our goals every quarter, and we say, I have my goals for Support Black Colleges, I have my goals for my personal brand, I have my goals as a man in general. So and those things as a man in general break down to financial, fitness, physical, mental, all of these different aspects. And I just say, these are the things that I want to achieve. And then these are the tactics that I'm going to implement within the next 12 weeks to get that goal that I'm looking for. And Jalil, Amira, Darius, Ellie hold me accountable. Because if I return back to this Sunday call with 2 weeks of not doing something towards all of these things, then I'm lying to myself that is something that I want. And it's obviously not that important to me.
Yeah.
So I balance, and some of those things may look like not all the way business. It might be call your mom or your grandma every Sunday and check in with them.
Because that's tough for a lot of people. It gets tough,
especially if you, like you said, I haven't even been thinking about certain things. Like I might forget to, Jalil talking about, we might forget to eat today just because we're working so hard. So I lean on accountability to have balance, and they are able to G-check me when it's necessary, when it's like, yo, you said that you wanted this. Do we need to like change that goal up there because you returned 2 weeks without putting nothing towards it? So do you really want it? And now that might be, did you call your grandma, your dad, and all of them? And that is a balance because it's not business. Some of it's business, but all of it is.
One of the best.
You should try 75 hard.
Oh yeah, I heard that thing was crazy.
75 hard was crazy.
It was life changing.
It was life changing.
I stopped drinking after doing it.
It was,
I haven't drank since October.
It was life changing.
I gotta check. I've been hearing a lot. I think Ellie did it too.
Yeah, I got two things. One, I'm a piggyback off the bossy back off of the balance thing. One of the best, I think we used it for a Boss Talk clip. It was from Pastor Darius Daniels, and he talked about, he got it from somebody else. He was talking about how somebody told him when he was coming up, you know, he does leadership, he does a lot of other things. He said, don't think of balance, but think of rhythm. He said, so, you know, he said, say you're juggling balls. He said, you can't balance them. You just got to touch every one, but don't go too long without touching the other one. And I was like, damn, that's really good.
That is good. He's really good.
He's good. He's really good. But we done posted him a couple times. He's good. But that, and then you talked about health in there. That is what's wild, is that the man with his health has 1,000 wishes. The man without it only has one, and that's to be healthy. And sometimes we skip over, we'll do everything else except be healthy. And not realizing if we not healthy, you ain't doing nothing.
Can't do nothing.
And so I want to commend you and talk about that journey that you took a couple months ago when you locked in. You said you posted a video, you said, and I'm guessing that was your personal accountability. You was like, because we've done the same thing. Because once you give it to the world, you're like, all right, I got it.
I couldn't post it myself. I gave my phone to Jalil and said, bro, I wrote the caption. I can't click the button. You got to do it.
Because once I do it, it's on.
Once I see it, oh yeah, it's lit. And this was a life-changing experience, because the day I posted that, the day after, I went to go play basketball and I injured my pinky. And I was like, damn, I'm one day in my workout, but I injured my pinky. So I had a choice. Am I going to allow this pinky injury for me to stop and not work out, or am I going to figure out a way to do workouts that will fit around me not using my pinky and stay true to what I said I was going to do? It would have been easy for me to be like, hey, Instagram, messed my pinky up. Sorry, the challenge is over. But I chose not to do so. And I thought that was like, it was a really rewarding experience.
Because you didn't want to fail yourself.
Right. And it's crazy how powerful that is. Like every day we posted, we completed another day until 75. And it's like people was looking forward to it, motivated by it. It's like, I can't stop.
I can't stop. I gotta go.
It's something in the human brain.
And what's funny is, before we did the 75 hard, the guy who created the program, he said around day 40 something always happens, or close to it, something always happened. And it happened for me and him, and I wasn't even thinking about it, but on day 40, twisted my ankle. And you gotta do 2 workouts a day. So I'm like, yo, come on, man, gotta fight through it. And I was like, it's crazy what you, and that's where it's like, how can I harness whatever I was doing during 75 hard on a regular basis?
What makes 75 hard made me want to do it. It's not a physical challenge. Of course, it's physical, but it's really, he says, mental. Letting you know that you can do anything. You can fight through anything. And if you put your mind up to it, you can do it. And I was like, I'm going to do this challenge.
That's so good.
So how long was your health journey at that point? Like, how long did you give yourself a time, or you were just saying you were going to work out till you felt like you were...
I think I did like 90 days,
like
60
90
or 90
days.
days. That was just that. But and since then, I hired a trainer, and now trainer comes to my apartment every day, 5 days a week. Am I 100% every week? No,
but you there.
I just don't want. I don't want to put that out there like, you gotta hire a trainer and be there every day and this and that. Like, bro, I'm human. I miss a few times here and there, and it is what it is. But I'm actively trying to figure out a way to, even when you travel, it gets a little bit more difficult when you're trying to keep up on your healthy eating and you're working out. So I just wanted to put that out there. Like,
I wanted to ask you, because a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs, suffer from procrastination. And we learned over the years that when we procrastinate, we stopping someone else's blessings.
Yeah.
And that's what helps us to push through it. Like the story with Ellie. If we procrastinate on that, all of that went unfold. So how do you deal with procrastination?
That's really good. And like what happened with you with procrastination, I heard a lot of different quotes that really just like acted as a punch to the jaw that like really changed the game for me. So one was procrastination is just an excuse not to execute. And I was like, man, I'm just telling myself, and then that also is interchangeable with perfection, because perfection is just an excuse not to execute as well. So I was just like, man, I'm telling myself I got to be perfect, which is making me procrastinate, which is really just me giving myself an excuse not to execute on all the things that I said I want to do. That was one. And then another one was a story with me and my boy that kind of got me to the quote that you just mentioned, Cam. And that was, my boy was always telling me, yo, bro, I got this crazy vision to help out a bunch of kids, because all of the stuff that we're learning about like neuroplasticity and all of these difficult topics, we need to condense down to layman's terms and give to kids, because we know that a kid, you show me the boy, I'll show you the man. You know, what you learn from age 0 to 7 is typically the pathways that you continue to go down. So he's like, man, I want to package up all this difficult stuff we're learning and give it to children. And it went by a year, 2 years, 3, etc. And then he always was coming back with ideas about it, but never execute on it, because he just wanted to get it perfect. And I said one day to him, I said, bro, I love you like a brother, but do you realize that it's been multiple years since you had this idea from when it happened, and that thousands and thousands and thousands of kids have not been able to act in their purpose and find their passion and learn these different concepts because you were just sitting around procrastinating. And then and I internalized that for myself as well when I said it. So I was like, that one really hit me, where it's just like, okay, I can't be, especially when I give advice, I always try to, I never say that someone like should, must, or has to do something. It's more so like, from my experience, this is what it is for me. So even when I give advice, it's like, I'm talking to myself too. So that really hit me when I had that conversation.
Now the comedian in me hope he didn't do it, 'cause it'll just be funny after that speech. But the human in me wish he did, so that he end up doing it. Because I have empathy.
I'm sure that he's working on it.
You know, that's a tough thing too. You know, when you have friends that have skills but don't execute on none of them, and you like, it's like, how long do I talk to you about what you could be doing before it's just like, I don't know what else to say to you, bro. Like, you see me doing this, like, you see me doing that, and it's like, you want to, pulling people up is always good, but it's like, do I pull somebody up who doesn't have a hand out? You know what I'm saying?
It's not what you want to say, because you're going through this right now.
It's just like,
referencing.
And it's just like, I don't know how to deal with it, because it's like, sometimes like, bro, I've given you tools, I've showed you this, I've given you motivation, I've given you books. I think it's at that point where you're a grown man now. It's your time to. This is where we part ways on that part. I'll always be your friend, but if you don't want to help yourself, it's like, you know, and it's like, it's tough. So it's like, I don't even know what else to tell my man. You know what I'm saying? It's a tough thing, because you know, you be like, dang, you got some skills, man, but you're not. You know, and I feel like if you sit in this bucket of woe is me, it's really not gonna go nowhere. You know what I'm saying? It's just a tough thing.
Been through it before and completely understand. I spent a lot of time thinking, because I always heard like, you could bring the horse to water, but you can't make it drink. But I've also been challenging myself too, because even me and Jalil, we don't like to conform ourselves to the world's thinking of what is the status quo. So if I can bring a horse to water but can't make him drink, how do I make him thirsty then? And I don't know the answer to that question. I'm actively seeking, and I'll say that on the podcast. So hopefully someone can listen and help us figure this whole thing out.
Because maybe y'all, if y'all got the answers, help us.
but to be transparent with you, I've been through that a lot of times, and I am just very open and honest and very transparent with those types of situations. You keep bringing these things back to me saying that you want this and that, and I'm giving you all the resources, you're not using them. Hey, bro, love you like a brother. We will always have a relationship, but I don't see myself lending myself to you in that capacity because your work ethic is not matching what you say that you want. Love you. We can go out, kick it whenever it's that time because we have friends for all different types of circumstances.
For sure.
You might just be my dog, but you might not be the business guy that we do stuff with.
And that's just the harsh reality. Yeah, that's just what it is. Yeah. I had to catch myself because I'm trying to get out of the habit of saying, because even when we was talking about working out, it was like, I just need you to show up. But it's like, I read somewhere that, and then what?
Right.
Like you can show up, but and then what? You know, I was like, that's true because like everybody say, well, I just show up. Yeah, but I need you to do more to show up. I need you to do something.
That's a small piece of the equation.
I need you to figure it out. Another topic I want to go into real quick is speed versus direction, and I think as entrepreneurs, that's important because
that is so good.
Because direction is I think. It's hard to say which one is greater than because sometimes speed is kind of greater than direction.
Urgency.
The urgency. That's what I'm saying. So like I'm trying to figure out which one do you follow in your model, and B, is there a way to mesh the two so they work together? Speed and direction. Yeah,
this is a great question. Never been asked this before. So in the context of what's better, speed or direction, I would actually say direction then speed because if my goal is to go to the North Pole and you tell me, man, start running south, I will get there at some point, but it's going to be rough.
It's going to be rough.
But if I have the right direction first, then apply speed, and you say, hey, Justin, go north. And I start going, and then you say, here's the tools to apply speed to what you're doing. I'll get there much faster than if I'm just going in the wrong direction.
That's good.
So that would be my answer.
Yeah, no, that's good. Because the sense of urgency is so... I'm gonna have to tell them because I'm already on urgency. I know our fans probably tired of hearing. We only told it like once, maybe twice. We had just a sense of urgency when we was in Africa to get these business class tickets, and I won't go through the whole thing, but basically, we didn't take no for an answer and got what we wanted each time.
Right.
And I was like, man, we still trying to figure out how do we bring that urgency into the business.
Last time it was only 2 seats left, so it's like.
It's like what is that? What was driving us? But the comfort is what was driving us. We wanted to be comfortable traveling.
Right.
So I was like, maybe it's the comfort of living the life I want to live. That's why I need to bring that in. Be like, all right,
that's good,
we need to get on the same type of thing because I take everything as a lesson. Everything we go through is
that's good.
Like, all right, why are we doing this? What are we doing this? Of course, when you're on a trip like that, you're looking at everything, like the signs and everything. It's like you're just trying to figure it out.
I
but
think it was just exhausting every possibility. That's what it was because we asked in Boston before we left. They said no seats. When we got to our layover, they said no seats. When we got to the next gate, no seats. And then finally at the last stop at the service desk, it's 2 left.
Yeah,
it was like, man,
and we just kept doing it.
So that's a good thing to talk about. Exhausting all your options, right?
Yeah,
using your resources. What's the resources if you can't use them?
That's
right.
So,
so as you were building your content, building resources, how are you doing? Because sometimes you don't feel like you bothering somebody. How do you get past that initial fear of like, man, I don't want them to think I'm begging, and then like that's
all ego,
that's the thing.
And one of the best books, bro, Ego is the Enemy.
Ryan Holiday.
Bro, I must have read that book at least 20 times. Like wrote my notes down in it, and Jalil can vouch. Read over my notes in that book every single day, because most of the time when we're thinking about what people may think or what it may look like, it's all stemming back to ego. And if I can get my ego as low to the ground, as close to zero as possible, then I know that I won't have a stipulation on my mind of let me just ask every time, or let me ask for a discount, or let me ask for whatever it may be. And when you said that, it brought me back, which is crazy, like how life works, but it brought me back to a book that I read that's called Go for No. Very short book, like 50, 60 pages, but it was talking about a sales team, and what they would do is for their quotas, they would set a no goal, not a yes goal. So it would be like, not you need to get 10 yeses on sales and that's your quota. It would be like you need to get 5,000 no's. So they would then make calls trying to get through it and be like, okay, yeah, no, all right, man, okay, cool. Try to get it, but then they're running through more calls now. So I thought that was powerful because what you're saying now is that all you did was you just kept asking. Kept asking. And you desensitized yourself to the rejection because ego tells you don't let yourself get rejected. But what you're saying is consistency, going for no, not letting rejection subside you is got you the result that you want.
I gotta write that down in my book notes. Go for no.
First, we're molded by rejection.
Oh yeah,
like, our whole life. It's easy for us to roll with rejection. But I think too, what I always say, just go for it, because if you don't get it, you can always go right back to where you were.
Yeah.
But what happens if you do get it? Now you a step further. Like that's why I always say, take the risk, go for it.
1000%.
You can always come back.
Bro, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, bro, like, what's the alternative? Like, bro, and it brings me back to when I was in the shower trying to like get everything together and figure it out. I was like, I kept telling myself, it's like, I can't go to sleep tonight and know that I'm gonna come out on Instagram tomorrow and tell everybody that the business is over if I don't exhaust every single option. I just wouldn't feel comfortable with that because that's not the type of spirit that I have. So I think that that's kind of like similar to what you're saying, is like, bro, we just gotta exhaust every option, bro.
Yeah, and then it's like, even when Derek and Brandon was on, one of the wildest things they said, we literally, he said, if you got my contact, more than likely we either chopped it up, and he was like, but he said, I say it to people all the time. I say, hit me, use me. He said, they don't call. He was like, he said, they do not hit me. I said, I ain't the one. I'm gonna hit you, bro. I'm gonna hit you. I hit you every time I was in Atlanta. I hit you. I'm gonna hit you because you, especially if you shared moments of convo, and so it's like, they tell me like, hey, hit me. They got some type of respect for you. Like, yo, hit me up if you need help. You know what I'm saying? 1000%. But it's like you said, it's the ego.
Bro, it's the ego, bro. And then this is the thing too that I learned early on too, because ego will tell you like, people are trying to take from me. They want advice and they want this and that. And I'm, big bad boss man, so I can give advice here and when I want to. But what I learned is like, if you can't be used, then you're useless.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be useless. I want people to use me.
Yeah.
So, and it takes me back to a very quick story I want to share, is that I had 4 homies when I was living in Houston, and 2 of them I convinced to come to Atlanta with me, and 2 of them stayed back. The 2 that stayed back never hit me up that much when I was in Atlanta. Not because they were being fake or anything like that. Life whatever it is, cool. So one day I get a call and both of them are in jail because of something that they got themselves into. And then when I called them, I said, bro, you see me and my 2 other homies went out here, took this e-com thing seriously, life seriously, and was able to grow our, grow our business and our life. I said, why didn't you just hit me? Like, I love you, bro. I'll give you whatever, the shirt off my back.
Especially when you seen the trouble coming, like,
bro. And all of the information that I have is accessible to you, and you know that. Man, I just didn't want to like feel like a burden. I just didn't want to like hit you up and feel like I was like asking you for things all the time. And isn't that crazy how ego could land you in jail?
That's crazy.
You don't even want to ask your day one homie for one piece of advice.
It could have been guilt and regret too.
Yeah.
Like they didn't make that move. They decided to stay and see how well it went. It's like, man, I feel guilty calling. I feel this regret. It's almost embarrassment, probably.
That's good.
So I think that's probably where they was coming from.
That's good too.
But
I think
they still should have called.
2 more. Well, it's kind of insane. I know you talk a lot about analysis paralysis, right? And that comes with decision making, right? So, kind of like expand on that a little bit. Like when you get in those situations, or how did you even get to the point where you started thinking like, all right, people are just suffering from a lot of analysis. Bro. Like, what did you see that made you like kind of talk about that?
I saw it in myself.
Got you.
I saw it in myself.
He was like, I need to talk about this.
No, for real, bro. Because what was happening was I was watching all of the people that we probably all watch, Gary Vee, Tony Robbins, all of these folks. And so Gary Vee specifically was like, Facebook ads, gotta get on Facebook and Instagram, etc. And I'm like, okay, cool. Listen to that for like 3-4 months, consuming so much content. And then I never started using Facebook ads. So then one day I was like, all right, you got me, Gary. You convinced me Facebook ads is the thing to do. Facebook, Instagram ads, I'm gonna do it. So I start to learn on YouTube and I build out an entire campaign and I don't press go on the campaign, and it sat there for like 2, 3, 4 days, and then something again that my intuition maybe was like, Justin, if you don't press go on that campaign, you're never going to press go on it. And the issue is that analysis paralysis is very natural because I'm new in the entrepreneurship game. Justin's telling me do this, but this person is a drop shipper. He's telling me to do this, but then they're saying Amazon, but this aligns from these two people, but then Google says don't do that. So what do? I don't know what to do. And what I found was the best way to subside that is find one person, pick a source, vet them out, and follow the blueprint that they do exactly, but just iterate it a bit, duplicate it, then iterate it with your own sauce on it, and then see what the results have.
Still like an artist.
And see how it works. And what happened for me was I said, you know what? This guy that I see on YouTube seems to know what he's talking about. He's doing clothing, he's being successful, and he's in a position that I want to be in. And a very big key is that I don't take advice from people that I don't want to trade positions with. So we'll let that simmer, whatever. But so then I said, okay, I'm going to take his information. I'm only going to listen to him, but I'm going to just put my own sauce on it. Did that, saw some success, then took the money that I made from that success to then pay for $100 consulting call with him and got more information on what I was doing with the ads. Then took that money and invested in $1,000 course, then another $1,000 course, over and over again until I had so many skills that it was damn near impossible for me to not make money. So the analysis paralysis is very human, and if anyone and the viewers or listeners are hearing that, it's understandable because there's so much noise out there. But the way that I would say to get over that is to just pick one source, latch onto them. Don't think you're too cool to where you got to do something totally left field. Follow the blueprint. Do exactly what they say, and then throw your own sauce on it. And then you can borrow from many other places as you continue to go. But just focus on one source that's vetted and then go from there.
And invest in yourself because you spent that money.
Spent that money.
People will buy them J's, but they won't buy that course. So
Come on now. We was talking about that before. You take on $120,000 in debt, but won't put up $1,000, $3,000.
That's wild when you think about it. It's wild when you think about it. Like when we seen Myron's course, and we was like, we just gotta do this. We want to do this. We trying to get some information. We got some good gems out of that. One of the best things we got out of that was to be findable.
Right.
He always says be findable, and I was like, boy, that's the truth.
That's good.
That's the truth. Be findable, because it's like, what am I missing? Oh, nobody see me.
Right. Someone just has to find
you. It's like that. That makes sense.
Bro,
go ahead.
Real quick, 2 things that are just I want to be able to get out is, one, the thing is that, bro, what you said is so powerful because it just takes one gem, bro. Like, if I could just, even if I spent 25, 50,000 on a mentorship or whatever, and I just take one thing from it, or a bunch of things not to do in the future, that's also very valuable. So if you could just take one thing and make back the money that you invested, that's dope. That's cool. Even if everything else was fluff, whatever you want to call it. And then 2, I always like to say this for people that are investing in themselves in general, is when you invest in yourself, most people think about it, because I did this too, was I invested $1,000 into this course and I did not become rich in 30 days. This does not work. And this is all scam stuff going on. But in reality, what I've learned, especially through watching people and learning in my own journey, is this business takes so much. You got to know how to do product shots. You got to know how to upload them. You have to know how to run Facebook ads, Instagram influencers, email marketing, text marketing, etc. And all of them have to work together, copywriting. So what I adapted myself to and what I would say worked well for me, and that it would be a good belief system to employ for the listeners, is I take a bit and a piece from every aspect. So I learned copywriting, and then I learned ads, then I learned building a website. But if I would have stopped there by investing $1,000 in one person, then another $1,000, but I wasn't still successful in the business all the way just yet where I wanted to be, and I stopped there, I would have never gotten to the exponential success, because it's like a bridge of knowledge that I need to piece together. And once I have all of them, then I can be exponentially successful. But what most people do is they try one thing, don't become rich, and then they're like, all of this is a scam. Or they do a bunch of things and they say none of these things worked, but the last person that they learned from completed the bridge and they were super successful, and they're like, this guy's real and everybody else is fake. But in reality, you just gathered so many skills to where you actually be able to be successful.
That's good.
That's why they say knowledge isn't power. The power is in executing with that knowledge.
Exactly. Applied knowledge.
You can have a lot of it, but it don't mean nothing.
No, if you don't apply it.
Before we get ready to get out here and wrap it up, I do like to end with some of the successes, just because I think you got to give people their flowers, and I like to talk about the stories because people like to hear about people once they made it or either had some success. So as you started to make money, now it's funny because there's problems when you don't have money. There's also problems when you do got money. I'll take some of those problems. I ain't gonna lie, I'll take some of them. But
if you don't have problems, might as well have
with money. So when you started making money, when how were you handling your finances? At least just on on saving, on investing. Like,
this is so good.
How did you bring all that together now that you start making? Because it's easy to think about it. Like, man, when I get this money, I'm gonna do this. But then when it started coming, you're like, oh shoot, I gotta pay for this. Or hold on, I gotta do this.
It's so funny because we don't realize how crazy that sounds, bro. I'm gonna just wait till I'm rich to start investing. I'm gonna wait till I get money to start. That makes no sense, like at all. So to answer your question though, there's a few things there that definitely got to talk about. One is that I really think it's important for people to realize that money only solves money problems. And then after that, you're left with real issues that you got to deal with. And that is something that people don't think about.
Cavity, you still got to get fixed, even if you got the money.
So it's like, bro, you get money, and then you think that, man, once I have money, I'm not going to worry about that. But it's so far from the truth. And another issue is that, like you said, when you don't have money, the issue is I need money. But when you do have money, it's like, what do I do with this money? Like, oh my God. Yeah. So the way that I found that works for me is all of the money that I make, I take 35% of it and just put it straight into a tax account. Don't even think about it. After that, I take 5% that I use for my personal living expenses. Now, granted, I understand that I make a decent amount, so 5% living for
you
me,
is different.
it works out for my expenses. But also, I live way below my means. My apartment right now today costs me $900 a month. So
that's wild.
That's how you stay rich.
$900 a month.
I haven't seen that since we moved to California.
Yeah.
And another thing is that, man, I'm borrowing a lot from entrepreneurs that I really like, but wealth is a ratio, not a number. So it's, if I make $100,000 a month, but I have $2,000 in expenses, then I'm wealthy because I can live multiple years without worrying about finances at all.
Cash flow.
Yeah. So right, and for someone that makes $200,000 a month but spends $195,000, they are not wealthy. They're living paycheck to paycheck, but at a glorified rate because of their lifestyle has creeped up to match what they make. So for me, I take 35%, put it in a tax account, 5% used for personal, 10% I give, 10% I save, and then the other 75% I take and I invest, whether it be in the business, crypto, real estate, etc. Because and then just to make sure that people don't think I'm crazy, after I take the 35% out, I make that dividend that I'm left with its own 100%.
Because you're not even worried about that 35.
Right, so the 35 is just
that's just
taxes.
Yeah,
it's done.
Gotcha.
And then I break that 100.
Then you break
100% down in that way, and that's what's worked for me.
Got you. So for me, I'm some people are cars, some people are clothes, this and that third. My thing is I am a watch person. Like I watch this guy named Teddy Basir on YouTube. Like I love watches. I be watching how they make watches, all type of stuff. So that's what I know I'm going. That'll be my guilty pleasure as I'm getting money. Did you have one of those? Like, is there something that you was like, you know what? When I make this, I'm gonna buy this, or I'm gonna do that, because we got to spoil yourself sometimes. So I was just wondering if you had that.
I'm still figuring out a way in which to do that.
Gotcha.
For me personally, the way that I grew up, I watched my mom run up mad credit cards. So when I saw it get to a point to where she was like, Justin, take this credit card and hide it from me, please. And I'm 11 years old. And I'm like, okay. So I learned the importance of saving and investing money there. So for me, I also understand that I'm like a little weird in this case, because I don't need like external anything to make me very happy with myself. And not that anything that is outside, you don't deserve it. It's
you're
not
saying
a good
for you.
investment. For me personally, I can work 6 to 8 months, 12 to 16 hours straight, then go to the movies and be like, man, that was a great vacation. Like, I'm good for the next 6 to 8 months. That's just me personally.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm still finding a way in which I can enjoy myself in many other ways. But I will say this, though, is that, like I said, when I do it, I do it. And it's extreme. So, but also I don't beat myself up about doing it as well.
Gotcha.
Perfect example, because I want to say this publicly to hold myself accountable.
Now I think about it.
I want to say this publicly to hold myself accountable. Invest Fest weekend just passed. Jaleel did all the production with 13th and Create. And love Rashad, love Troy, great friends. And we go and they do Josephine's on the Saturday night, I think it is. So we all go to the club and we get into the club, and that's a whole story in itself. But I want to give honor where it's due. I'm outside because my dog has 2 sections, and he's like,
for a second, I thought you was talking about your dog. I was like, why was your dog at the club? What? But I was like, that's y'all getting money. Dog got a section. Going
to the club is a dog.
That's funny.
Shout out my boy Rover over there in section 15.
But yeah, I got you.
So my boy hit me. He like, yo, we got 2 sections. You don't need to buy one. I'm like, all right, cool. We go there outside, and then he calls me. He's like, nah, they tripping on bands. You got to have a certain amount. We can't give out, etc. I'm like, cool. How much is the section to the bouncer? Sold out. I'm like, oh, man. So I walk over. Troy and Rashad pull up in the Sprinter, and they walk out. And Troy walks in, and he looks to the side, and he like, Jay, you good? And I'm like, I'm trying to buy a section. Y'all sold out. He like, nah, bro, you straight come with me. So got to give honor where it's due. Troy, Rashad, solid guys, because that takes some humility and some awareness to stop at the peak of your Invest Fest moment and be like, nah, little bro, got to get straight. I want to give honor where that's due. But I get in, and I look at my boys' section, not my dog, Rover. You know what I'm saying? So I look at my boys' sections. He got 2, and it's packed. And I'm like, that's not the vibe that I want. So I'm like, I need my own joint. But they sold out. So I see one of my other boys, and his section's a little bit more, spacious. So I say, yo, bro, how much I got to pay you to like get in on your section? He like, bro, the game you giving me, you would never have to give me money, whatever. I got 2 sections, the other one's in the back, and no one's in it, so you could use it for free for yourself. And I'm like, I bet that's cool. So I get back there, bottle Patron, couple drinks, whatever. We drinking. I start to getting drunk. So I'm going around having fun, dancing. I'm a chill guy. I don't be dancing like that, but I was feeling myself, having a little fun. So then I see Rashad and Troy go up to the DJ booth, and they go, yo, it's Invest Fest weekend. Appreciate all of y'all for supporting me. We just bought a bottle for everybody in the club. Man, much love, man. Appreciate y'all boys. So then my boy Aristotle, the DJ, says, yo, it's a bottle battle. It's going crazy. Aristotle Investments just bought a bottle for everybody in the club. Man, we going crazy today. So I look at my boy. I said, they got us chalked, bro. Like, they going crazy. These are our boys, our friends, and our peers. Let's show them that we are on the same caliber, with the same financial resources, and we can have a grand time as well, too. So he like, let's do it. So the waitress comes up. She says, yo, would you like any more drinks? I said, yes, and in fact, we'd like to buy a bottle for everybody in the establishment today. And then she's like, all right, cool. We pick the bottle out, and then she's like, write down what you want on your notes to what the DJ to say. shout out to the youngest in charge, the real Tez and Justin P just bought a bottle for everybody in the club. They're the youngest econ boys doing it. Don't get it twisted.
That's funny.
We did. We recorded it because it was
funny.
And I called my team afterwards, and the first thing I said is, guys, don't be mad at me. I made a very fiscally irresponsible decision.
That sounds so fun. I made a very fiscally irresponsible.
I put it on the business. I'm sorry, yo.
And she's like, Justin, what did you do? And then I told her the whole story, and I said, but this was a great brand awareness play.
Oh, yeah.
It was a marketing investment because now everybody, and not this is ego, of course, but now everybody in the building knows that we support our guys, but also we in here, we having some fun and we having money too.
That's fun.
But I wanted to just say
that's fun though.
I wanted to say that when I do it and I have fun, but typically it's like once a year and whatnot. So I'm still looking for the things that make me want to whatever, and enjoy and have that balance. Because for me personally, I've done the meditation and the work and all of the inside things to where I am honestly very fine with like who I am as a person and my character and whatnot. And I don't need any outside stimulation or whatever to make me feel any kind of way. So I just be on some chill, and that works for me.
I'm very similar in the sense, I always have this quote, like, I don't need the Lambo, but just knowing I can get it is good enough for me.
Right.
Not saying I can get it right now, but just in that sense where I'm working to get, but I don't need it, to validate.
Yeah, some people need it.
Bro, and then that's such a good point. And it brings me to one more thing, is that one day I wrote down all of the things that I told myself that I wanted, like big life goals. And it was Lambo, big house, get my mom a house, get my granny a car, etc., and all of these things. And then I challenged myself to say, what are things on this list that if they didn't happen before I died, that I wouldn't really be too messed up about? Yeah. So then it was like, Lambo, not really tripping too hard. Get my granny a house, has to happen. Get my mom a house, has to happen. And what that did for me was, out of the 15 things that I thought were my biggest life goals, it narrowed it down to just like 3 or 4. Yeah. And I was really able to direct my attention towards the things that matter. So now, even when I think about it, it's
bad, just like you did with what the 3 things you're going to work on.
Same thing. Yeah.
Exactly. Same thing. So now, when I think about it, it was, okay, this is what I actually care about, and these are the goals. So now, Lambo, cool. If it happens, it happens. But just know that it won't happen, I would like to say, before these things that I circled and said that I cared about happened. Yeah. Because and I always just think about that, like, what do I look like having a Lambo and my mom is still paying a mortgage? Like, that doesn't add up to me. Yeah. So,
Yeah. I rock with that. Man, look. We got to stop, because if we don't, we'll go. All right, we'll go on for hours, man. We'll have to do a part 2 for sure, man. When we come to Atlanta, or when you come back, man. Before we get out of here, any last words you want to give the listeners? Any other gems that may have just popped up? You just want to say, hey, remember this, or anything like that? We would love if you left them with something.
Yeah. What is the first thing that comes to my mind? First thing that's coming to my mind is I really hope that everybody listening takes the time to do the inner work on themselves, takes the time to sit with themselves and figure out what they truly care about, and then start to craft their life around the things that truly matter to them, and know that money does not matter, bro. It's a great tool, but it's a terrible master. So I would hope that you guys realize that somebody that has been through coming up to having some money, to know that it's much more important to focus on who you are, your spiritual journey, your connection with your close friends and family, and the money, when it comes, it'll attract itself to you, which is great. And also, in part 2, we're going to get to the tactics, because I hate when folks be like, bro, just attract it to you. So we're going to do that, because y'all know me. I gets it in with the busy. Tactics too. But I would just say that, if you chasing something, it's running from you. So we got to stop the narrative of like we chasing money and et cetera, and actually chase the inner growth, because that's what attracts it to us. So I hope that would help.
Before we get to part 2 and the tactics, let them know about your ebook. They can get some tactics out there. Part 2.
So this is what I want to do, and especially because we brought up Ellie as well. Yeah. Me and Ellie are actually doing something together called Mission Black Friday, and what our goal is that we want to have impact 3,000 people to make their first $1,000 in their business. So we're doing a free class together on September 29th.
Okay.
And so we got a little time to get ready for it. And me and her are going to be teaching like the tactics of like how to build either a physical product business like I've done, or on Ellie's side, she's done the digital side really well.
Yeah.
So we're kind of bringing it together to do the best of both worlds.
I'm gonna have to tap in. Yeah.
So for those that, you know, have an interest in learning how to build and scale a digital business or build and scale a physical product business, September 29th, you can go on missionblackfriday.com and opt in, and we'll be teaching all of those tactics as well. And then of course we're gonna do a part 2, and we're gonna get it in.
That's when we're gonna get busy. Yeah. Get busy. Yeah, guys. I mean, look, we've given a lot of gems here in this episode. We already knew. It's funny because we didn't really have to have notes. I had them just to have them, but because we just know once we get to talking, it's gonna happen. But thank you again, man. What you're doing is incredible, man. I'm glad to call you a friend. Glad you to be here, man. I'm gonna keep calling you. If others ain't gonna keep calling you, I'm gonna keep hitting you. So I don't know what these other people are doing. And yeah, we gotta talk offline anyway because there's some shady side up stuff we got. We gotta chop it up about. But anyway, Cam, sign us off. Let us know.
Well, this was our midweek pick me up. If you're down, we're gonna pick you up. If you up, we're gonna take you higher.
All right, y'all. We out. Peace.
Guess that's why the labels want the rights to me. City on my back and it feel light to me. They think that I'm stunting, but it's light to me.